Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mic Check Podcast. This is T Word, the People's Champ. Thanks for tapping in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Today, we're going to talk about the Showtime boxing card on April 8th, which featured Sebastian Fundora and Brandon Lee. Man, this was some interesting boxing for the night. Now, before the main card started on TV, heavyweight Frank Sanchez was able to get in the ring and got an early stoppage. I think he dropped his opponent. I know it was at least two times, might have been the third time, and the ref called it off. The guy was just overwhelmed. I don't think Frank broke a sweat, so I didn't get an opportunity to really see him use the boxing skills that I have been bragging out leading up to the fight. I was like, yeah, he'll get in there, he'll outbox and he'll move, and he's one of the most skilled heavyweights I've seen in a while. And then he just gets in there and KOs his opponent. So didn't get to see the best version of him, but a knockout is a victory. So kudos to him. Keep rising to the top, Frank Sanchez. You guys be on the lookout for him. He's going to make some noise, even though he's a little shorter than some of the other heavyweights. I think the skills that he has is going to make him a really strong force to be reckoned with in the next couple of years. Now, as I mentioned, Brandon Lee got in the ring and he had a fight. And in my opinion, the way the scorecards went, and I don't know if it's the way that I judge fights or I'm really starting to reevaluate the way that I score fights, because sometimes these scorecards don't make sense and I don't understand what the judges are looking for. In fact, I think it would be great if sometimes maybe they had the judges write a little statement about what they're looking for in each fight. Kind of when you see like the talent competitions and things like that on some of these game shows, the judges tell you in advance what they're looking for. So then when you're looking at the scoring, it'll make more sense because they'll have given you an idea of the key factors to getting points on their cards. Well, anyway, I thought that the scorecards just didn't make sense, but he was the house fighter. So he was going to get the dub as long as he finished the fight on his feet and didn't get knocked down, and he was able to do that. Then your main event comes along and you've got Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno, and Brian Mendoza. And bruh, I did not expect this outcome. I thought it was a good scrap. I thought Fundora was doing well to be ahead on the card. He was really landing that inside uppercut. I mean, he made the fight dirty. He got inside. And as long as people have been talking about Sebastian Fundora giving up his height and taking away some of his advantages, including reach and the ability to punch down, the chickens finally came home to roost, and it wasn't pretty. I mean, Mendoza hit him with like a no-look overhand, and then he followed it up with a couple of hooks, and Fundora was on his back. And the way he sat him down, I mean, he just kind of flattened him the way he laid down, and he sat up, and he's kind of looking at the ref like, did you see that? Like it was almost like a little bit of shock, like he hadn't been there before. And I'm assuming he's been dropped at least a couple times in sparring or in the amateurs. So the level of shock that he displayed in that moment, and I get it, he's tall. So one thing you have to understand about a taller fighter is a short guy like me, if I go down, there's less of me to pull up and I'm closer to the ground. So I'm going to regain my balance a little bit quicker. A taller guy has a lot of legs to work out in order to stand up. So you could picture like, a newborn deer like Bambi, or, like a giraffe on wobbly knees. I feel like that would have been the scene. So either he would have gotten finished immediately after, or the ref would have seen him stumbling around, and that might have been more embarrassing. Getting sat down and catching the 10 count is part of boxing. He's a good sport about it after the fight. Shout out to Mendoza. I just saw a video, a side by side of him where he threw the exact same punch against another opponent and staggered and wobbled him the same way. So it's becoming his signature, I guess. But that being said, he's now the WBC interim champ, which I believe he's going to have to fight somebody else, and then he'll be in line for one of Jamel Charlo's belts at 154 pounds. So in my opinion, Fundora, I think he could stay at 154. It doesn't look like he's melting down to that weight class. I mean, I think he walks around at like 160. So he's not going to be able to fight at 160. In fact, he can go down to 47, but he'll probably never get a fight. And I think at that point, he might be drained. But if he could continue to make 154 comfortably, I think he should stay there, fight a few more fights, and he'll be right back in the picture. I don't think the division's too loaded with contenders to where he can't get another shot at that interim belt, or maybe in the next couple of years a vacant belt or something like that, or fight another young contender and get right back in the picture. So my co-host Q, he tends to disagree. He thinks he should move up to 160. I think that weight class is going to be too big. And with the way he likes to fight, those punchers are too big. They're too heavy-handed at 60 for him to continue to fight like he does, which he may change now that he's had this experience. But with his current fight style, I think he needs to stay where he's at and just work his way back up to the top of 154 into a mandatory position. But we'd love to get you guys' thoughts on the fight card on Showtime. Also, Gabriela Fundora got a win. She's got a WBC, some type of continental belt or something like that. So shout out to her. That was his little sister. So at least somebody from the family got a dub. But this has been T-Word for the Mic Check Podcast. Until the next time I'm out. Peace.